I have the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, I was going to and we've talked about on the podcast, should Shai Gilgeous-Alexander be in the MVP discussion? The answer is yes. I understand there's you need to be like between the top 5 and a top 5 and top 12 player. I'm going to let everyone in on a little secret. That's exactly what Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is right now. The Thunder have outscored opponents by 33 total points with him on the court. The Mavericks have outscored opponents by 32 points with Luka Doncic on the court. Those are not perfect comps, but I think you could pretty clearly make the case that Dallas's supporting cast at the top, Dorian Finney-Smith, Christian Wood, Spencer Dinwiddie, is preferable to Lou Dort, Josh Giddey, and Aleksej Pokuševski. However, what basketball reference page is going off in the background? Fucking basketball reference adding autoplay ads. My actual question is, does Aleksej Pokuševski belong in the most improved player discussion? And I'm not trolling. We know how I feel about Poku. Since he's his last 4 games after he missed a couple, he is at 14.8 points, 2 assists, 1.0 steals, 2.5 blocks, shooting 52.9% from 3 on 4+ attempts and 62.5% on 2s. He is contesting a shit ton of shots at the rim. Opponents are shooting under 60% against him at the rim, which in his role and given his frame is huge. Now, when you watch him, this is me looking at the entire season, not just the last 4 games. He is so much more complimentary. He understands his body. He understands how he's supposed to be used within the offense. He is active on defense. He's become this reliable floor spacer for them and someone who's going to give you some emergency self-creation. My actual Aleksej Pokuševski question is, it's not, is he going to be the most improved player discussion? I think Shai is more likely to win it than him. It's, do they have another long-term viable, I don't want to say building block, but on the same level as just like, if you view Lou Dort as a keeper, you should view Aleksej Pokuševski as a keeper to this team. Like, is he part of the next good iteration of the Thunder? Because I don't even want to phrase it, is he more than just this novel concept? I think, look, to me, maybe that is a fair question. I thought we got there at points last year. Like, from when he came back in February after he was out of the lineup for a little bit, he played really well. But I feel like if you want that to be the question, fine, whoever's listening to this. Poku feels like this is a real player for the future for the Thunder is my question. And it's a weird question to ask because I have an answer to it, but it's one I wanted to phrase to someone who's maybe outside of my Poku bubble.
Yeah, no, that it's a great question. I think in terms of improvement, when his first year in the league, he was one of the most damaging players anywhere. Shot 28% from 3, took 4.6 of them per game, shot 34% from the field. This guy's playing a rotation / starting role for parts of his rookie season, most of which he was 18 years old for, by the way. So coming from there to now, he's a plus defensive player. He is a value add on defense, and the ball's going in on offense. 37% from 3, 46 from the field, blocking shots, still playing 24 minutes a game overall. But like you said, has just been much better. I think and he's not 21 yet. So he's a plus defender with offensive upside, just shy of averaging double figures in scoring. And is helpful. Just there. Take out the length, take out the man. He's an interesting guy as a super mobile 7-foot guy. Where do you play him? The opportunities and potential is, off the charts theoretically for what types of lineups you could build that involve him, especially if he's going to be a major shot blocker. Just being his age and being a plus defender with his frame is absolutely, he's a piece that is a long-term piece there. The only other guy I think, and it's obviously early, I think, Giddey is potentially going to be pretty good. I don't see star upside for him. I think Jalen Williams is really good, or is going to be really good. He had a bunch of spot up threes last night off, believe it or not.
Send them to the Timberwolves. They could use that.
Believe it or not, SGA drives. There were a few of those, and he kept generating open wing threes for guys. Williams, I think, has the frame to be a switchable, combo forward / wing. He has on-ball skills. He's a good 3-point shooter. He really had his first, stretch derailed because he got just nailed in the face and fractured his orbital, I think. And so he's going with the mask right now. But I have a lot of hope for him. But yeah, Poku's he's 20 years old still. He got another month or so. It turns 21 the day after Christmas. And he's like a good, helpful NBA player. Great, and he's not surrounded by a whole lot of like high-end NBA talent. So yeah, I think people are going to say we're just focusing on the last little stretch, but I think he's legit.
I think he showed it last season. People just weren't sold because it was so roller coastery still.
But how bad he was before. I mean, he was bad. Like he was not.
But also just like that was you drafted him sort of knowing that, and they've seemed to show patience. I will say there's an alternate reality in which Chet Holmgren doesn't get injured. What does that mean for him this year? But I do think now I'm like, wow, Chet Holmgren and Poku up front, because it doesn't look like they're going to be in the Wembanyama sweepstakes unless they really, they have to flip a switch and turn it all the way down. But like that, look, I don't know how good Chet Holmgren would have been right off the bat. And again, could he have impacted the opportunity Poku's getting now? I'm all of a sudden just like, Josh Giddey might be the player who I'm like sixth highest on the Thunder right now. When you look at Dort, Poku, Shea, Chet Holmgren, Jalen Williams, maybe that's pushing it. But like I'm infinitely intrigued by this team. And I did want to throw in a fun Shea stat though, really quickly, just because I think most people who are not Thunder fans might have been expecting to hear about him. There have been 273 players this season who have appeared in at least 10 games. Luka Doncic is the only player with a higher share of his buckets coming unassisted. Meanwhile, Shea's efficiency is just through the roof, which leads me into very quickly the final stat. Among everyone to attempt at least 35 pull-up jumpers, only Steph and KD have higher effective field goal percentage on them. Shea has been a monster. Also, I love that Steph just comes up in like every efficiency stat.
Other than Steph, except for him, this guy.
That's gonna be my new qualifier. Forget arbitrary like volume benchmarks, except for Steph.
So I watched a lot of that Thunder game last night. He's unguardable. Like he's just, you can't, there's no stat. I mean, except the bazillion drives per game. He's going to lead the league for the third year in a row now. You cannot stay in front of him. And if you do stay in front of him, you're off balance and he turns around and hits a little weird pull-ups that you're talking about. It's just, it doesn't make sense in a league obsessed with 3-pointers. And he's hit a bunch of big threes this year, but he does not shoot a lot. To be able to get to the bucket when everybody knows that's where you want to go, it's just, I can't remember someone like him, like with his size and frame, that could just get to the basket however many times he wants per game. It's unbelievable.